week 18 of the fantasy basketball season, and here's a few centers I look to buy and trade for this week. The first center, Nic Claxton of the Brooklyn Nets, and this Brooklyn Nets team, it's been a tough season for them once again, no doubt about it, but Nic Claxton, I think, has been a solid piece for them over the last few seasons, and pretty much one of the only few guys that stuck around. The Kevin Durant that has remained on the team now for many years. So on the season, 12 points a game, 9.9 rebounds, 1.9 assists, 2.2 blocks, and 62% from the field. But the last couple weeks, the numbers have gone down, the rebounding and the shot blocking. 8.8 points a game, 6.8 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 0.8 blocks a game, and 61% from the field. So Claxton, obviously the old school type of center that you would see in the 80s and 90s, shot blocking, rebounding, and a guy that just has a lot of putbacks and dunks for a good field goal percentage. February 24th at Minnesota, 12.7 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, 50% from the field. February 26th at Memphis, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 3 blocks, 100% from the field. And February 27th at the Magic in that one, 10 points, 5 boards, an assist, 66% from the field. So right now, Nicholas Claxton, the numbers are down a little bit here. I think he's still a center that can help fantasy owners in many ways with the rebounding and shot blocking. I know this Net team, they're not going anywhere this season here. 4 or 5 weeks left of the regular season, but he still can help fantasy owners, and like I said, is a prototypical center that you know what you're going to get from him, shot blocking and rebounding. I think it's a good buy low play this week. The next center is Clint Capella of the Atlanta Hawks. Capella returned to the lineup quicker than I thought, and no one wanted to make a deal for him at the deadline with his contract not being great books the next couple years. So on the year, 11.1 points a game, 10.5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, and 56% from the field. But the last couple weeks, 6 points a game, 9 boards, 1.3 blocks, and only 33% from the field. So Clint Capella, he's a center that's just like Nicholas Claxton, shot blocking, rebounding, and pretty decent field goal percentage for the most part here. Now with Trae Young out of the lineup, you might see Clint Capella get a couple more shot attempts. I'm not saying a lot, but easier plays for this Atlanta Hawk team. So February 23rd versus Toronto, 5.7 boards, an assist, a block, 25% from the field. February 25th versus Orlando, 4.7 boards, 25% from the field. And February 27th versus the Jazz in a blowout victory, one of his bigger games since he returned from injury, 9 points, 13 boards, a steal, 3 blocks, 44% from the field. So right here, Clint Capella, he's back in action. He's playing good minutes for this Hawk team, 20, 25 minutes a game, where he's still going to rack up rebounds. He's still going to shot block shots. I know his points per game might go down with Okongwu getting more playing time, but still, I think Clint Capella can help fantasy owners in those categories. And right now, while his value hasn't been great all season, even though the numbers have been pretty decent, he's a buy low this week. In the third and final center I look to buy and trade for is Paul Reed of the Philadelphia 76ers. So Reed, it's been up and down for him filling in for Joel Embiid, but he's still a center I think that can help fantasy owners in obviously shot blocking and rebounding, where these are the type of centers you want on your roster. They're not going to hurt your field goal. I know scoring points aren't going to be all that great, but the rebounding and shot blocking could go a long way in category leagues. So on the season, 6.5 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and 53% from the field. But the last few weeks since filling in for Embiid, 8.2 points a game, 8 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, and 50% from the field. So right now, Paul Reed, I think pretty much you could give up a play at the end of your bench and get him on your fantasy roster, or even pick him up off the waiver wire where he's still available in 43% of fantasy leagues. So February 23rd versus the Cavs, 8 points, 12 boards, and assists, 3 blocks, 66% from the field. February 25th versus the Bucks, 13 points, 8 boards, and assists, 2 blocks, 46% from the field. And February 27th, he put in a stinker in that one in Boston, no points, 3 boards, and 0% from the field in 3 shot attempts. So right now, Paul Reed's getting the opportunities, obviously, with Joel Embiid. I know Mo Bamba's getting some minutes, but he's the center right now over there in Philly. And like I said, you don't got to give up much to get him. A guy, either you drop onto the waiver wire to pick him up, or play at the end of your bench to make a deal. So that's a few centers I look to buy and trade for with the deadline approaching in fantasy leagues for Week 18 of the fantasy basketball season.